grab it while you can, lads.
Yes.
Dosh, money, money, money.
Yes.
Dosh, grab it while you can, lads.
Yes.
Dosh, money, money, money.
Sure, mate.
Dosh, grab it while you can, lads.
Yes.
Dosh, money, money, money.
Yes.
Dosh.
Hey, hi, how you doing? This is the Gamertron, and welcome back to the Gamertron Show. And we need to talk. We need to talk about how
we have been hoodwinked, bamboozled, led astray, run amok, and flat out deceived
about video games, about the video game industry in general. And you know by who. You've seen them in your recommended tab, you've seen the thumbnails, the outlandish, outrageous, over-the-top titles, the particularly cherry-picked topics and specific video games that they make videos on, and the overwhelming emphasis on negativity, pessimism, cynicism, while fabricating and standing by this objectively, factually false narrative about gaming, that it's dying, that the vast majority is anti-consumer. You know the shtick. But what you don't know is their best ally. Ignorance is money. These online entrepreneurs are raking in a fortune from your naivete, manipulating outrage culture and mob mentality. But what is it that gaming YouTubers don't want you to know? It's that middle market and indie video games are thriving, and they've been thriving for the past few years now. There are alternatives to AAA video games. The middle market and indie space of gaming has been pushing out true works of art, amazing products, pro-consumer video games that are worth your time and money, but you don't see videos from these gaming YouTubers being made about them, do you? It's almost exclusively AAA video games, the AAA industry. And why is that? Well, that's because making videos on AAA video games, and specifically the AAA video game publishers and their anti-consumer business practices and decisions, is far more profitable than taking the time to advertise and shout out pro-consumer video games from the middle market and indie side of the gaming industry. And the hypocrisy is clear for all to see. The constant outcry and rally from gaming YouTubers for the AAA video game companies to show honesty, integrity, be pro-consumer, release games in a variety of different genres, don't just chase trends and what's most popular, be willing to make financial sacrifices to make the best product possible. Which is funny coming from all of you who do the exact opposite of everything you're asking for from AAA gaming. I mean, you're complaining about AAA gaming for chasing trends and what's most popular, what's most profitable, while you do the exact same thing. It's all you guys do. What personally disturbs me the most is how these gaming YouTubers are labeled as consumer advocates when they do not meet the criteria. They're only doing half the job. Being a true consumer advocate not only involves calling out businesses for anti-consumer behavior, but also promoting the businesses that are being pro-consumer, that are doing it right, that are a positive example. So you know what? Right here, right now in this video, I'm going to do what these gaming YouTubers never do. I'm going to actually be a consumer advocate. I'm going to list off 19 video games, 19 indie and middle market video games of quality with positive reception that you can go out and buy right now that have come out in the past 2 years. There are no good video games anymore, they say. Single player games are dying, they say. Let's just go fucking see about that, shall we? Now, before I begin the list, full disclosure, while I own every single one of the video games I am about to list off, I have not played them all. You can check my Steam account to see that I do in fact own all these games I'm about to talk about, but as of making this video, I simply have not found the time to play them all or invest enough time where I feel comfortable in saying that, yeah, I've played these games, I know what I'm talking about. A fair portion of these games are on the list and I am still talking about them, and the reason I am claiming them to be of objective quality is based off their review scores, after reading reviews and watching video reviews of these games, and just hearing the opinions and perspectives of my friends who have played the games. Also, some of these are video games that my patrons on Patreon have asked me to shout out. Hey, what's this now? Full disclosure? Honesty? In a gaming YouTube video? What's the catch? Oh, it feeds my ego. And with all that out of the way, let me tell you about the video games these gaming YouTubers don't want you to know about. The awesome indie and middle market video games available right now. Now we're going to split this list into two halves. The first half being games you've probably never heard or seen of. The second half being games there's definitely a chance you've heard and seen of. Alright, here we go. We're starting strong with Omen Sight. The description reads, Omen Sight is an action murder mystery game. In order to prevent the apocalypse, you are fated to repeat the last day of the world until it can be saved, investigate clues, fight enemies, and solve the murder of the godless priestess. Now, Omen Sight is a story-focused game, an RPG, and in terms of its combat gameplay, a third-person hack-and-slash melee spectacle brawler. You just have to look at the game to see that there's love and passion behind it, inspiration from various sources, and you merely have to glance over at the reviews to see that they are overwhelmingly mostly positive. The fact that Omen Sight is being overlooked and ignored, it's just a bloody crime. If you like story-focused single-player games with melee combat, don't miss out on Omen Sight, check it out. Up next, we have the free-to-play first-person shooter, Pwned. Now, while Pwned is technically a dead game with not having a player base, the game has complete bot support, can be played solo, co-op with friends, and again, the game is free to play, so if you want to get some mates together, create a lobby, there you go. Pwned is just a crazy fun first-person shooter. A lot of people describe it as Quake meets Overwatch, and that's an accurate description, and they surprisingly work really well together. It's an old-school arena shooter with fast-paced movement, wall jumping, rocket jumping, double jumping, there's a lot of jumping. While it is an arena shooter at heart, the 5 different playable hero characters have unique weapons and abilities that add variety, with fun, fast, and definitely explosive playstyles. And then there's the unique mechanic of humiliating and pwning your opponents. Pwn is a one-of-a-kind multiplayer first-person shooter, and again, it's totally free. You can download it right now for nothing. There's not even any microtransactions in the game. And even though it's a dead game with little to no players, complete full bot support. Nothing keeping you from experiencing the gameplay, the maps, the different characters, everything. Give Pwn a try. It's free. Why not? You have nothing to lose. Up next, we have the turn-based strategy game, Attack of the Earthlings. The description reads, take on Galactoil, a comically dysfunctional intergalactic energy corporation and its larger-than-life employees, in a tactical stealth game that fuses satisfying strategic gameplay and dark comedy in a quirky single-player story. In Attack of the Earthlings, you get to take control of the native aliens, the Swarmers, and by using strategy, stealth, traps, environment manipulation, and alien abilities to kill all humans. The majority of reviews for the game are positive, with such repeated praise being cited as the humor of the game, the soundtrack, and overall gameplay. So if you're looking for a single-player, turn-based strategy game with a quirky, fun premise, Attack of the Earthlings isn't a bad way to go. Now, get this. A fighting game that's basically Super Smash Bros., but starring a bunch of classic indie video game characters, and it's also on PC. This is Indie Pogo.
I don't care how dangerous it is.
The description reads, Indie Pogo is a platform brawler game for 2 to 4 players about bouncing, ricocheting, and pogoing your friends into oblivion. Gather your friends for 2 to 4 player local romps or climb the online ladder in the bounciest of battles. Prepare yourself for a rompin', stompin', jumpin' good time. Reviews for the game are overwhelmingly positive, and I don't think I need to add anything more here. If you want to support indie developers, if you love the characters from these indie video games starring in Indie Pogo, if you love Super Smash Bros., you have absolutely no reason to not pick up Indie Pogo. The fact that this game is not being talked about, not being supported, just absolutely disgusting. Go check out Indie Pogo. Up next we have... oh boy. Fuck it, I'm just gonna play the trailer. There's nothing I can add here.
Daryl! Hey! Have you heard a goddamn thing I've been telling you?
The description reads, shoot rubber ducky arrows, pound enemies with a rhino hammer, and help Beethoven get his groove back in the last totally normal high school themed RPG-vania you'll ever want. It's Super Daryl Deluxe. What else is there to add? Up next, how about we give a shout out to a couple of horror games, survival horror. First up, we have Remothered, Tormented Fathers. Third person, running and hiding from invincible stalker-esque enemies, collecting items, solving puzzles, mystery, drama, blood, gore. Remothered, Tormented Fathers is a classic survival horror video game inspired by classic survival horror video games. If you're invested in this genre, you have to check out this game. Reviews are overall mostly positive, so I say give it a look despite its oddball name. And after that, for survival horror video games, we now have Unforgiving, A Northern Hymn, and oh dear god, this game. The description reads, Unforgiving, A Northern Hymn is a first-person horror game heavily inspired by Swedish folklore and the Nordic mythology to create the nightmares that's been haunting Swedish children for many generations. I'm just gonna say right now to my Swedish viewers, no offense, but you guys are fucked up. I haven't played Unforgiving yet, but I am dreading doing so, in a good way. Everything I have seen and heard about this game is utterly terrifying. Apparently, the atmosphere is perfect, the sound design is perfect. Overall reviews are mostly positive. This is a new survival horror classic we have on our hands here. Again, if you are invested in the horror genre, you need to check out this game. Moving on, let's shout out some more story-focused, narrative-driven games, shall we? Starting with The Council. The description reads, experience a narrative adventure where your choices and character growth truly matter. As a member of a 1793 secret society, live a tale of intrigue and manipulation on the hunt for your missing mother. While The Council does bear a lot of similarities to Telltale point-and-click adventure games, The Council is also an RPG. You actually get to choose skills that affect your conversations with characters, how you navigate the environment, solve puzzles, which actually leads to different playstyles, meaningful choices. It also incentivizes replayability, not only to see the different story choices, but how different character builds affect how you experience the story. Guys, if you love story, if you love narrative, if you love drama and mystery, and games with multiple branching paths and endings and choices, then you need to check out The Council. The overall reviews for the game are mostly positive. The Council is also an episodic game, with there to be 5 episodes in total, and 3 of the 5 episodes are available right now. Up next, are you guys in the mood for a good vampire story? Perhaps one that also has deep RPG mechanics, narrative, and third-person melee combat? Well, I present to you Vampire. Or Vampire, I have no fucking clue how you pronounce that. The description reads, London, 1918. You are a newly turned vampire, Dr. Jonathan Reed. As a doctor, you must find a cure to save the city's flu-ravaged citizens. As a vampire, you are cursed to feed on those you have vowed to heal. Will you embrace the monster within, survive against the vampire hunters, undead skulls, and other supernatural creatures? Use your unholy powers to manipulate and delve into the lives of those around you, to decide who will be your next victim. Struggle to live with your decisions? Your actions will save or doom London. Vampire in many ways feels like an old-school RPG, but with a few modern innovations and additions here and there. The really cool, unique feature about this game is that every quest giver, every NPC, you have the option to spare or kill. If you kill them and devour them as a vampire, you gain experience and can level up. Make your vampiric ability stronger, but killing those NPCs will affect the story, other characters, the world around you, allowing for multiple different endings, branching narrative subplots, and emphasis and encouragement on replayability. So if you like this setting and premise, if you're into old school RPGs and deep branching narratives, I can't recommend Vampire enough. Overall reviews of the game are mostly positive. Moving on from gothic horror and vampires, let's talk about futuristic sci-fi dystopias. With the game, State of Mind. The description reads, State of Mind is a futuristic thriller game delving into transhumanism. The game explores themes of separation, disjuncture, and reunification in a world that is torn between a dystopian material reality and a utopian virtual future. State of Mind is a linear, story-focused game. Keep that in mind. You're playing State of Mind solely for the narrative experience. Admittedly, the price tag of the game may be a bit too steep for some, especially if you prioritize gameplay over story, but for those of you who love a good sci-fi story, I can easily recommend State of Mind. With its unique art style and really going in heavy on a lot of deep and dark classic sci-fi concepts. If you're into this premise and setting, I think you may really like State of Mind. The overall reviews of the game are mostly positive, but for this one I may actually recommend a price drop waiting for the game on sale, because with the reported amount of playtime people are completing the game at, the price tag may be a bit steep. But I guess that all depends on your personal priorities. How much is a good narrative in a video game worth to you? Last two games of the first half of this list have no particular theme, so I'm just gonna jump into it with Project Nimbus. The description reads, Project Nimbus is a high-speed mech action game set in a post-apocalyptic world. Players control battle frames, humanoid battlesuits armed with an arsenal of weapons. This is a mech game that lets you fly freely in the sky, dodge and intercept incoming missiles with machine guns, and fight armies of hostiles with every kind of modern weapon you can imagine. Battle against numerous powerful colossal opponents with the power to annihilate armies. Engage ace battle frame pilots, each with their own unique fighting styles and stories. Basically, Project Nimbus is part third-person shooter, part mech flight simulator. Fast-paced arcadey action, heavily inspired by anime, it has anime girls in it. Over-the-top sci-fi war story? Check. Multiple different mechs and weapons to pick from and play with? Check. A survival horde mode and the game is completely single-player? Check. So yeah, do you like mechs? Anime girls, over-the-top action, and story? Then you should probably go check out Project Nimbus. And to finish off the first half of this list, we have Welcome to the Game 2. The description reads, Welcome to the Game 2 is an atmospheric horror strategy puzzle game that takes you into the world of the deep web in search of the shadow web. Play as an investigative reporter trying to solve a case of a mysterious woman broadcasting for help as masked men are on the hunt to kill her. Now, I myself don't need to say anything to convince you to check out this game. I'm just going to read some of the best Steam reviews, and you can judge for yourself. Got into game. Thought if it's a normal browser, I can enter YouTube. Type in youtube.com. It works. Played Californication while dancing in my apartment waiting for a hitman. Got swatted. 11 out of 10. Got swatted for trying to buy underage Japanese girls on the internet. 11 out of 10. Lock computer. Computer gets hacked. Panic. Stop hack. Power drops. Spend 15 minutes lost trying to find door. Reset power. Punched in face by police. 10 out of 10. A man snuck into my room and hid behind me for 5 minutes watching me browse a foot fetish website until I looked in his direction, at which point he shouted at me in Polish and shot me. 10 out of 10 game. If these reviews haven't convinced you to go check out Welcome to the Game 2, I don't know what else will. And that ends the first half of our video game recommendations list. The first half consisting of games you've probably never heard of, but now we're going to quickly go over the second half with games you probably have heard of, but you haven't picked up yet because they're not AAA. These are middle market and indie games you seriously need to play and check out because I have played them. All these games I'm about to list, I have personally played them, and they are really freaking good. They compete with AAA video games in terms of quality, but you don't see gaming YouTubers talking about them. Those games being Echo, third person, stealth, puzzles, intelligent AI that actually learns from you and adapts to your behaviors, beautiful graphics and art style, outstanding voice acting and characters, awe-inspiring sci-fi story and setting, Ruiner, top-down, isometric, action-packed, challenging, cyberpunk look and feel, lots of replayability and challenges. Hellblade, Senua's Sacrifice, oh my god, you need to get this game! It's beautiful, heart-wrenching, intense, inspiring, thought-provoking, emotional roller coaster ride, beautiful visuals and soundtrack, a fantastic protagonist, solid and satisfying third-person hack-and-slash melee combat gameplay. Oh my god, Hellblade Senua's Sacrifice is so good. If you have not heard of this game, if you have not picked up and played it, oh my god, you are making a mistake in life. Little Nightmares, puzzle, platformer, atmospheric, beautiful visuals, an intriguing horror fantasy setting. If you liked or loved video games like Limbo and Inside, you need to check out Little Nightmares. Styx Master of Shadows and its sequel, Styx Shards of Darkness, third-person stealth inspired by the old-school Thief games. The protagonist, Styx, is a goblin with a crude and witty sense of humor who constantly breaks the fourth wall. Level design is well-made and varied, allowing for challenging stealth scenarios. If you love stealth video games, you have no reason to not own the Styx games. Up next we have Warhammer End Times Vermintide and its sequel, Warhammer Vermintide 2. First person, melee combat, focused on taking on hordes of enemies inspired by Left 4 Dead. A lucrative loot grind progression system, new weapons and armor. Level up and grow in power to take on harder difficulties and get better loot. Play solo with AI teammates or in co-op with friends. Both of the Vermintide games are immensely fun to play with very satisfying melee combat, deep loot grinds and progression systems to get invested in. Great games to play with friends in co-op, especially if you like Left 4 Dead, and you don't need to know anything about Warhammer to get into these games and enjoy them. And to finally finish off the list, we have Killing Floor 2. First-person shooter, primarily focused on survival horde mode against waves of enemies. Can be played solo, co-op, and there's even a PvP mode where you get to play as the mutant zombie monsters you'll be slaughtering. A massive arsenal, an absurd amount of weapons to kill enemies with, very satisfying gunplay, bloody, gory. Has a dark sense of humor, an absurd amount of cosmetics to chase after if you care about the progression system, and completely supports community-generated content. If you like first-person shooters, and you like horde modes, you gotta check out Killing Floor 2. And there it is, everyone. There it is. 19 video games, and I could easily have listed off more. But this video has been going on for over 20 minutes, so we should start wrapping it up now. Point is, all these video games I just listed off, indie, middle market, positively received, can get cheap prices or even for free. Look at these options, look at this variety, look at this quality. Gaming is better than ever. It is a better time than ever to be a gamer. And yet you have these gaming YouTubers lying to you, withholding information, solely obsessing over AAA gaming, when the middle market and indie market is booming with quality products and works of art that are worth your time. But gaming YouTubers aren't talking about them, reporting on them, shouting them out, recommending them. Why? Because it's not nearly as profitable as bitching about the problems of the AAA gaming industry. Wake up, people! These gaming YouTubers are not consumer advocates. Actual consumer advocates work to improve the industries they are advocating for, and half of that battle, the half they are ignoring, is bringing to light positive examples, helping to support your fellow working men and women who are not owned by major conglomerates, corporations, and stockholders. Help make the little guys the new big guys. Help the independent, middle market developers make it big so that they can positively affect and change the overall gaming industry as a whole. I challenge you. I challenge the internet. I challenge gamers to do what these gaming YouTubers don't want you to do. Do your own research. Don't solely rely on them as your source of information on the gaming industry. Be proactive. You want to make the gaming industry better, put your money where your mouth is. Don't just virtue signal in YouTube comments. Support good indie games, support good indie developers, support good middle market games, support good middle market developers, and hey, you know what? Even support good AAA video games, pro-consumer AAA video games, and genuinely passionate AAA video game developers. Alright, that's all from me. This has been a video. I hope you liked the video. If you indeed liked the video in any way, shape, or form, please be sure the like button. The like button helps you, helps me, helps everybody involved in the video. If you hit that, please leave a comment in the comment section down below. I love reading comments, getting nearly enough comments. Please leave a comment. What are your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on the topic of this video? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you want to help out and support this video, then please share it on social media, Twitter and Facebook. If you want to help out and support me directly, well, there's always Patreon. Anyways, guys, that's been a video, and I'll see you all later.